But there are stipulations on it too, because if you want to wrestle in districts, you have to go to 3 out of the 6. Because we only do 5, it crunches a little bit too. But the goal is to get to 3. That way you can wrestle in your district. And then top 2 in the district, go to the region. And then after region, there's no correlation like in high school where region goes to states. It's if you go to state qualifier and you qualify, then you go to state. So they're not connected.
So you don't have to do a district in order to do a state?
Absolutely not. You just do your district just as maybe one of the last things you do as a team.
Yep.
Another wrestling opportunity. Maybe you get a match or 2. Maybe you get 3, depending on your weight class. And then if you qualify, you go on to the region. And that same kind of thing. Region is just another time to wrestle. And then essentially for most of our kids at that point, the season is over. For our elite kids, the kids that are being challenged by going to state qualifiers, they have another 2 weeks after that. And that's fine too.
Yeah.
And some of them wrestle well after the season's over too. But
last year was the first year we did that. And we probably wrestled up until June.
Yeah.
And then, baseball kicks in.
Baseball will take over for a while.
Yeah. So we try to get as much wrestling done even though the season's over. And I wanted to talk a little bit about that. A lot of kids in our program belong to wrestling clubs.
Yes.
So I don't want to get into the details of who's better or which one you should go to.
I think it's all personal preference. Yeah. Just like you might like a certain food more than I like it, right?
For me, it's convenience.
That can factor in.
I don't want to be driving an hour or a half hour, but I choose this because it's convenient.
Yeah.
But I think for us, there was some influence from some of the local parents that we talk to at wrestling all the time. What are some other attributes that make...
Sure. So I guess I'm in no particular order. I haven't thought this out in any great detail, but to me, what comes to mind certainly would be not the top of the list, but certainly a factor is cost. Not everybody can afford this, and it's something that, if your child's going to do it, you should really investigate the different levels of cost. A lot of these clubs do things where you can drop in. You pay like a cost for that night. Many will do several months or even a year. There's probably a benefit to that cost as well because you pay it once and you don't have to think about it again until the next year. And you may wind up saving money as well as a result of that. The other thing is, what are you getting for that cost? So certain clubs have certain nights that are dedicated for certain age levels and weights. Some clubs don't do that. Some clubs have a set, this is the time every night. So those are things you factor into. The travel, like you said, convenience, if it's close or not. I know people that will travel an hour or more to go to a club. They may be at a different point in this too. They're looking for different drill partners.
You're on a vision quest, man. You're trying to find your place in the circle.
They're looking for a different atmosphere. It may be the teaching that the clinicians are giving at that place. But I do hear often of people that go to multiple.
Just want to wrestle shoot, okay?
Okay.
They're not just connected to one. I think that's becoming more and more a thing. And I don't even look at that as like, hey, you're more loyal to this. You're really probably just loyal to your kid and you want to make sure that they're getting the best possible opportunities. And things change year to year. The club that I bring my son to, I like it because I like it for those factors. The cost, I feel, is reasonable.
Oh, hello. I'm White Goodman, owner, operator, and founder of Globo Gym America Corp.
The facility is a good facility.
And I'm here to tell you that you don't have to be stuck with what you got.
Teaching and training is great, but probably paramount for me would be the drill partners and training partners that he gets to work with.
Globo Gym employs a highly trained, quasi-cultural staff of personal alteration specialists.
And he's in the 8th grade, so he's there and there's high school kids there. And next year when he goes as a freshman, that won't be as intimidating for him to wrestle with somebody that's a year or 2 or maybe even 3 years older than him because he's already doing it now. But I think those are the big ones. And again, it's like anything, your preference of, hey, you like seafood, I like steak, right? Like you're gonna get fed.
Yeah.
You just may be eating something different. And
well, one of the other things is, I had a question about was, when you're filling out these state qualifier tournaments, they're asking what town you're from or what club you represent.
Yeah.
It's a toss-up because you're in season with Nutley.
Right.
But at the same time, you're getting benefit from the club. and then the club wants to get some credit for making your kid good.
Yeah.
So it's like, at what point, like, do you make that decision? Like, who am I wrestling for?
Right. That's tricky because there's some strategy involved in this too. If you qualify and you happen to have a lot of other kids your age from the same club and you put down your town, you might wind up wrestling somebody that you wrestle at your club because they put down a club and you didn't. So I've heard quite a few people now are doing that where they're just putting their club down even though they may wind up going to the state tournament wearing their town program singlet and being coached by their town coaches, but because of the fact that they may run into somebody from their club that happens to be good and they don't want to do that early, if they do that later on and they've placed, so be it, right?
Yeah.
You already kind of earned a medal and the prestige of being a state place winner. But at the same time, if you run into somebody early because you didn't do it, it can be problematic. I have heard of people now doing this thing where they do a slash, where they do their town and slash their club. I used to be more concerned with it when I first started getting involved with the program because I'm, first and foremost, I was a high school coach for close to 15 years. So I always think, like, you don't wrestle for your club. Eventually you wrestle for your high school. But I've changed my thinking on it, too, because there is an element of strategy involved. And even when I signed my son up this past fall, I couldn't figure out how to do the slash. So I wound up putting his club down because I knew there may be other kids from his club at the qualifier, and at least they'd separate them out. Yeah. They're very good about separating them out as much as they can. I mean, if you have, 6 kids all from the same club going to the same qualifier, you're probably not going to get separated as much as you would if you had 1 or 2. But down the road at the state tournament, it does play a factor.